Hey folks, this is Kelani. Patch 7.3 just went onto the PTR for its first round of testing, so let's have a look at what's up for us to play and what we can expect from patch 7.3 overall. Now obviously there's going to be plenty of spoilers ahead for patch 7.3, so if you want to remain pure and unspoiled, tune out now. So this patch seems to be quite heavily story-based, which is a fantastic thing to hear after getting so little story-focused content in 7.2 and 7.2.5. After heading to the Exodar, we bought the super shiny Vindicar, which is basically the newest model of the Draenei spaceships. The view looks pretty amazing from the deck of the ship, so we can use this spaceship to fly through the rift, or portal, that Illidan created after we killed Kil'jaeden, and we end up on Argus. There's currently a queue for a cinematic to play after we set off, but it's not in there yet. But we have been promised quite a few cinematics, particularly for key story moments in patch 7.3, which has me super excited. I love when Blizzard tells the story through their beautiful cinematics, instead of just leaving it up to the quest text, which we probably might not read. As we land on Argus, things don't seem to be going too well for us or the Armory of Light, so we venture out to create a more secure foothold while recruiting anyone and everyone who doesn't stink of demon, including Turalyon and Illyria. We finally get to see what happened to these key lore characters and their battle with the Burning Legion. So after the little intro, we get to romp around the ship a little bit to get a better feel for where everything is. We're introduced to the Netherlight Crucible, which is apparently going to unlock new customization options for our relics. It doesn't work yet, and we don't have any solid details about it, but this might be the two-trait relic system that Blizzard scrapped going into 7.2. Either way, it seems relics are going to be a bit more interesting when patch 7.3 comes around. Whenever we get actual information on the system, I'll be sure to pass it along to you guys, so stay tuned for that. There's also a portal to Dalaran, so you can get back and forth pretty easily without too much worry, and we also have an inn to set our Hearthstones to, giving us another easy way to get back to the Vindicar. Light's Heart is also floating around in kind of a captain's chair thing. Not sure if it's actually doing anything or just looking pretty, but it's cool to see we brought it with us. Now we can't actually fly in Argus at all. We're back to using our flying mounts as ground mounts, but hey, at least the Gul'dan mounts might see some use now. We don't even have any flight paths on Argus, but we do have a very cool replacement: teleporters. We unlock their locations the same way as any old flight path, but the travel is instant and there's a flashy light effect whenever you teleport between the beacons. It seems like Argus might be a decent size as well. We've got one area to explore right now and two other areas of similar size on the map, but we'll have to wait and see how much of that is actually used and how much is just empty space. One thing I did notice was the amazing use of the Skybox for both Azeroth in the sky, as well as the distant land around you. It looks pretty freaking amazing if you ask me. Makes it feel a lot more immersive while playing as well. Now, even though we can't fly, that doesn't stop Blizzard giving us some more mounts, but holy cow, what in the world is that? I don't know if I'm delightfully terrified or what, but I'm kind of surprised that's going to be in the game. It will be for sure be a head turner, and more than one person will do a double take when they see it. I don't know if we should be riding that. We might catch something. We have no idea where most of these mounts will come from, so we just have the pretty models to look at for now. Besides this crazy monstrosity, we also have a pretty chill looking manta ray. Seems like it would be a flying mount, but sort of looks like an underwater mount. I doubt there's any water on Argus though. We also have a new Talbuk model, which looks pretty cool. A bit of a nasty twist on the Fellbats that demon hunters have been riding around. A new Nightmare pony, which looks way too scary, so I guess that sort of fits. And this is the only one with an actual source. This comes from Puzzler's Desire, which could be something secret and hidden, which might be really cool to track down. And then we also have the Dark Moon blimp, which can really only come from one source anyways. 1,000 tickets might be a bit steep though. I'm sure this isn't all the new mounts we'll get, but these are all the ones currently added to the PTR right now. While we don't have a great deal of the storyline available on PTR right now, I can see where it's going and how it might progress to include the new dungeon and the new raid that's coming with 7.3. The new raid will release after 7.3, probably with a 7.3.5 like all of the other raids, so we won't be getting that right away with 7.3. But the new dungeon will probably release right from the get-go. It's called the Seat of the Triumvirate and appears to have 4 bosses: Zoral the Ascended, Saprish, Viceroy Nazha, and Lura. Hopefully these characters will be introduced throughout the storyline of Argus, rather than us just going into another random dungeon and bashing a few random bosses around for more random loot. I'd love for there to be a build-up to the dungeon and have the story continue through it. As a little side note, that last boss, Lura, that sort of sounds like a Naru name. Curious. If you're interested in the new raid, currently it has 11 bosses listed, with some of them being familiar names, some of them even being Titan names. We have Garothi Worldbreaker, which I think is going to be kind of like a Fel Reaver because I saw one of his smaller cousins romping around Argus. We have the Hounds of Sargeras, which is 2 hounds, maybe they act like opposites, that might be something to do with the raid encounter. The War Council, which basically describes itself anyways. Portal Keeper Hazabel, Aeonar the Lifebinder. Strange and interesting, maybe this raid will be like Ulduar, where we free the Keepers of Corruption or have to prove our worth. The description says we are defending her until she can strike back, so we might have the aid of the Titans throughout this raid. We also have Imonar the Soul Hunter, King Garoth, Varimathras, who does not look happy or pretty, and we also have the Coven of Shivara, another Titan with Agramar, and Argus the Unmaker is listed as the last boss. I'm guessing he's someone very important to be named after the planet, or maybe the planet is named after him. We don't really have any solid information on the storyline of the raid or how we end up there, but obviously it's going to be some central command of the Legion and we take down some of the biggest baddies of the Burning Legion. Most of these names are actually unknowns to us, so again I hope they really build up some of these enemies instead of them just being thrown into the mix for the sake of having another boss. So, along with all of Argus, we'll also be getting world quests, which isn't too surprising, they're everywhere. I'd love it if we had more interactive world quests, or something similar to the Broken Shore, where we work towards a common goal by taking part in the world quests, something to keep things interesting. There will also be a new type of content called Invasion Points. Again, we don't have anything super solid on this, except we will be going to other worlds to fight the Burning Legion, potentially leading us up to exploring those other worlds? I guess we'll have to see. As for the other bits and pieces which always tag along with these kinds of patches, we'll be seeing new additions to the profession system, including epic gems for jewel crafting. I am assuming that means secondary stat epic gems, as we already have main stat epic gems, and I'm sure all the crafted items to do with Obliterum will have their cap raised. I know there is a new type of Obliterum called Primal Obliterum right now. We'll have to see how we get our hands on that. And I know a few classes will also be getting new spell animations. Those currently on the list are Resto Druids, Elemental and Resto Shamans, all 3 specs of Priest, as well as all 3 specs of Mage. From what I've seen of the new animations, it's more in the vein of the Hunter changes, where it may be a different cast animation, but it's probably just some missile and spell effect changes. We still won't be using our weapons to cast or anything crazy like that, maybe someday. There's also several other updates and additions to current systems in the pipeline, but we don't have any specifics just yet. Be sure to stay tuned as the PTR is updated through the testing process, and I'll bring you more information as it becomes available. But for now, that's it for this video. If you have any questions or queries, please leave them in the comment section below and I'll get back to you as soon as possible, or hop on over to Discord. We have a server at discord.gg/Kelani, great place to come ask questions or just hang out. Remember to leave a like just below the video before you leave, and if you want to see more, make sure to subscribe. But apart from that, thanks for watching folks, good luck and have fun, and as always I will see you next time.